So, good afternoon, everyone. Again, I just want to thank you for allowing me to be here. My English name is Alice Gus Nee Harry. I was born and raised in a village called Stotmas. Stotmas, for those of you that don't know, the village is one of our oldest villages. It is known to be over 12,000 years old. Stotmas means shelter. And guess what's sheltering in front of us? Our chief. It's a beautiful day today, and I'd like to thank the Creator for this beautiful day. So I'm here to share a little piece of our Squamish language and our culture through this radical change in Squamish, British Columbia. But at first, I want to thank my late father, Ernie Harry, and my mother, Gwen Harry, for teaching me. They taught me language and culture. They taught me to respect all people, values, and beliefs. They taught me to build bridges knowingly that it is a two-way street and not a one-way street. And to respect Mother Earth and everything she provides us, like the water, the air, the trees, our four-legged brothers and sisters, our two-legged brothers and sisters, our swimmers, and our flyers. Our territory, we border our brothers and sisters from the north up in Whistler is our Lillooet Nation. Down south, our border, Squamish Nation, UBC area. The eastern is Tsawasiya, is known as Burrard Indian Band, by Deep Cove. And west is Seashell Nation. My story that I want to share is to understand the past, know the present, and plan for the future. Understanding the past, I would like to paint you a picture. I just wanted to make sure to let you know that I'm sharing my view and no one else's. I'm not here to offend anyone, but just to share my stories from my heart, from my ancestors, our elders, our leaders, all the ways to our children not yet born. So European contact, understand the past. We had over 10,000 people living within our Squamish territory, like North Vancouver, West Vancouver, Vancouver, Upper Squamish Valley, Whistler, Howe Sound, Stanley Park, Falls Creek, Horseshoe Bay, Potlatch Creek. That's just to name a few. We are known as the cedar and the salmon people. We utilize cedar for the canoes, the longhouses, the welcome figures, our clothing, baskets, utensils, just to name a few. The welcome figure, I share the welcome figure is a form. And I share to the students that, you know what? You know what other word that reminds me of? Is that word aloha in Hawaii. It means two things. The same with the welcome figure. When they have the hands out, we are welcoming your people to our territory. And then when you leave, that also means thank you, come again. So, longhouses, many families lived in one longhouse. But in our longhouses were places for potlatches. Examples, memorials, name givings, puberty rites. Longhouse is our sacred house that our oral tradition and traditional laws were passed down. Nothing was written down. European contact, 1763, a royal proclamation, King George III signed a document, which is a constitutional document under the Constitution of Canada. It sets out a relationship between First Nations and the European settlers. That process is what they call a treaty. That gives out certain terms. The basic aspect is consent. Squamish territory was given up for you people to live on with our consent. The Squamish people did not give their consent to occupy their territory. Squamish Nation did not sign a treaty. I bet you're wondering, it's 2013 and there's no treaty signing. As of today, while our leaders are still fighting for our Aboriginal rights and our title to our land. Late Chief Joe Mathias views, and he talks about the conspiracy of legislation, democracy denied for Native people. He talks about the historical streams of events, the federal government and the provincial government passing statutes and legislations from 1858 until today. During the 1800s, during Confederation, the Europeans had to occupy the land of BC. The Europeans stated, we have First Nations here, but we have to settle it. How do we do it? How do we settle and occupy a territory? They passed a law, the right of preemption. The law gave the right of any British subject 18 years of age and over to claim 320 years of land, unreserved, unsurveyed Crown land. The law went further, that any person can claim these 320 acres of land except the Aboriginal people of this continent. My ancestors were denied the right to claim 320 acres of land under the Constitution, or the Canadian legal system denied the native rights, the legal right to their land. We were not put outside the process, or we were put outside the process and the growth of this country. Between 1860 and 1927, various Aboriginal land claims formed by First Nations people were pressuring the government to say, what about our territory? What about our land? 1927, the government passed another law. They said they have to stop these First Nations. They could not answer their questions. They were embarrassed. So they passed another law. There was a strict prohibition for any First Nation person to hire a lawyer to prosecute land claims. Anyone at that time that even had an interest for the First Nations cause to protect the native land was imprisoned and or fined. So let's all talk about education. It's clearly stated that the First Nations had attended residential schools. The First Nations people were denied the right to attend a public school. If a child did not attend residential school, then that child was deemed as a juvenile delinquent under the Criminal Code of Canada, and or the parents were sent to jail if their kids did not go to school. The government tried to take the Indian out of us. They punished us if we spoke our own mother tongue. They couldn't even see their own brothers and sisters, as they had a boys section and a girls section. They were taken as young as 5 years old, and they finished when they were in grade 8. They could not go any higher than grade 8. They could not graduate grade 12. They could not go to post-secondary. If they did, they would be punished. Both of my parents and my grandparents went to residential school. My oldest brother was one of the first ones that went to the public school in my family in the 1950s. And due to racism, he had to fight his way all the ways to grade 12 to protect himself. The government passed another law prohibiting First Nations to stage and organize a potlatch in a longhouse. The Potlatch Law. The potlatch is a strong socio-political and economic institution. It became a criminal act under the Criminal Code of Canada. A person was subject to 6 months imprisonment if he or she was caught, and they were given a fine, even just let alone talking about it. This law struck at the cultural activity of the Squamish people. In 1951, our right to have the political say in Victoria and Ottawa was denied to the Native people all across Canada. It was only during the Diefenbaker administration is when the First Nations people had the right to vote in a federal and provincial election. So now you can see the picture. The picture shows that the First Nations were put outside the growth of this country. And how does a government best destroy a people and a nation? They destroy their cultural institution, take their right away to educate their child, and they take their rights to their political rights, and they attack their land, and they take away their land. Then BC and Squamish blossomed. Where were the Squamish people? We were protecting our Aboriginal rights and our jurisdictions to our land. We were prevented from doing anything. We couldn't even spend or manage our own money. We were under the regulation of the Indian agent under the Indian Act. Our ancestors did this for decades. In 1923, the federal government says, okay, we want you 16 families to amalgamate. You guys are going to be now called the Squamish Indian Band, whereas now we call ourselves the Squamish Nation. But 16 families is from the villages from North Vancouver and North Vancouver and Squamish. We amalgamated to make that possible. 2 families did not, and that was the George family and the Thomas family. They started their own band, and that was called Tsawasiya, which you know as Burrard Indian Band. Our land is our culture, and our culture is our land. We were here in the past, we are here in the present, and we will be here in the future. We were born here, we will die here. This is our territory, and this is our land. Our land provided us our save-on foods. It provided us all the pharmacy with all the medicines out there. So know the present. We, the people of the Squamish, will continue and educate our children who are proud to be Squamish people. I myself now understand what my parents went through when they went through residential school, which I didn't know when I was a child. I'm continuing to share our language and our culture to my children and our community. I am learning ways of the ancestors, the things like fishing, canoeing. We are on seagoing 50-foot canoes. We're going on our journeys. Next year is our 21st anniversary, and we're going back up to Bella Bella. Our drumming and our singing, our storytelling, our history, our making drums, our wool weaving, our cedar bark, our legends, learning our language, that's just to name a few. As for myself, I and our education team, we implemented a lot of language and culture in the school district in the 1990s. We worked with the municipal and we worked with BC Hydro, and I forgot to look at my pictures. Just kidding. We have our 6th annual Christmas dinner for the homeless and the single parents at Totem Hall, and it is open up to the whole community. It's not just Squamish Nation, it's not just First Nations, but it's open to the whole community. So we have grown just from 6 ladies getting together, and then we went on, and then 2 church groups are involved with us, as along with the Salvation Army. So it's growing and growing. So planning for the future. I like to share a quote from Chief Dan George. A quote from Chief Dan George. He said in front of 40,000 people at the Empire Stadium. Does anyone remember the Empire Stadium? Okay. Empire Stadium at the Canada Centennial Celebration. Oh, Canada, how can I celebrate you this century, this 100 years? Shall I thank you for the loss of my pride? Should I thank you for the loss of our authority? even amongst our own people. No, I must forget what is past and gone. O Great Spirit, give me the courage of the olden chiefs, like the thunderbird of the old. I shall rise out again. I shall see our young braves and our chiefs sitting in the houses of law and the government, ruling and being ruled by the knowledge and the freedom of our great land. So shall we shatter the barriers and isolation. So shall the next 100 years be the greatest in the proud history of our tribes and our nations. So with the teachings of our ancestors and our parents and our elders, we will continue to build bridges. Let's not continue to put up barriers, but let's knock them down. Let's teach our neighbors who we are. We, the Squamish people, will continue to teach our children socially, physically, creatively, culturally, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, ways of our Squamish teachings and our traditions. That we are two world walkers. We are two world walkers. Stay strong. Be proud to be a Squamish Nation member. But at the same time, go out and get an education. The teaching tool of today. Go back to our teachings, like teachings of the river. Go with the flow. Teachings of the Canada geese. Cooperate. Teachers of the mother grizzly. Protection. Teachings of the wolf. Work as a team. And teachings of the Creator, because He gave us 2 eyes to look twice as hard. The Creator gave us 2 ears to listen twice as hard. But guess what? He only gave us 1. So we got to be careful of what we say. Teachings of 1 mind, 1 body, 1 spirit, and we're all in that canoe together, and we're pulling together. And we're pulling together for the betterment of that child, whether that child is a baby or yet unborn. So with that, last but not least, and teachings of our 2-headed sea serpent, the teachings of choice. We all have choices in life. And that we all choose our own path. So again, I just want to thank you for listening, for allowing me to be up here just to share a little bit of who we are and where we come from and where we are going. So thank you again, everybody. So now everybody go home now.